Tailworlds, you were so sneaky. 2022 to 2023 has been perhaps the biggest advancement in the Mount & Blade series since, well, Bannerlord released into early access in 2020. From private servers to insane mod releases and of course the full release of the title itself, it could have been a bittersweet. With the final release coming for the game, there was the question whether anything would come out for Bannerlord in the future. Is that the end of its development? I mean, of course it wasn't. Tailworlds seem to be on this never-ending quest to fix every single aspect of the game. It is very rare for a game of this size to continue development over 3 years after its initial public release, but Tailworlds have not disappointed. Okay, maybe they disappointed just a little bit, but hold that thought for the in memoriam section of this video. So, on this journey, where does it take us to first? I'd leave it all. You know when you discover how good salt and vinegar crisps and tomato soup go together, or fish and chips and cheap white bread? Finding that perfect combination is one of the most satisfying things in life, and in April of 2022, we perhaps saw the first real mind-blowing addition that modders were making in Bannerlord, transforming the title not only in an overhaul, but this time completely generating a new game. Like mushrooms and mascarpone on pizza, it was a combination made in heaven. And whilst, look, don't get me wrong, the modding scene has always been kind of insanity for Mount & Blade, but it's very rare that something comes along and completely changes the mechanic of the way the game's played. Even Warband, despite its crazy modding scene, couldn't really push much further than an open world or a full invasion 2. They never quite made an entirely new game within the title itself. But Bannerlord, oh Bannerlord is a different kettle of fish altogether. Block released a video called Age of Bannerlords, showing an Age of Empires style redesign. From resource collection, town centres to training villagers, setting up projects for building and blacksmiths for upgrading troops and weaponry in the game itself. Of course, recruiting troops and sending them to war was a big part of it, and then having the ability to jump down into the battle Mount & Blade style and fight alongside your men. Does it get much better than this? Okay, look, it still is a bit janky, but of course it's going to be. Using the mechanics of the inbuilt map editor now to be able to use to place down buildings in real time is one thing, but then having them cost a specific amount of resources that have been collected by AI, this is something else entirely. Sending troops into battle, and of course the classic Age of Empires mechanic of any weapon, including steel swords or bows, being able to set houses and buildings on fire. I mean, it wouldn't make factual sense any other way. You can just see the love being put into this mod, and that's what really strikes me. Realistically, these people have nothing to gain, no money incentive, just a love for creating within Mount & Blade. Later, we saw the introduction of bannermen to the mod. Much like the base game of Bannerlord, they can buff and boost other troops around them, being recruited from castles with their own culturally appropriate banners, which, as you know, the PC champion I am, I wouldn't have it any other way. Look, I have Valandian friends, I promise. Hey, and who doesn't want some self-propelling artillery, with trebuchets that float over the land with no one pushing them in true Age of Empires style? A remake in the best possible way, making it fresh and new with beautiful graphics, but keeping all the admittedly stupid stuff in from the original game. But we all still love it anyway, because what can historical accuracy do in the face of nostalgia? Does anyone ever question, by the way, how in Age of Empires 2, battering rams, onagers, trebuchets, even siege towers push themselves with, I don't know, some black magic, yet bombard cannons? They have some poor lad heaving these things up hills. I think someone's being stiffed here. What's this? The long-awaited Lord of the Rings TV show on its way? Oh boy, I can't wait for that. I'm sure that's going to be good. Hold on. Are you telling me the whole of Mordor, the rise of Sauron, the Black Gates, and the one true hell of Middle-earth came about because some old drunken tavern owner put a broken sword in a perfectly shaped hole? Look, I need something else to fulfill my hopes and dreams. So we got Lord of the Rings Battle for Helms Deep in Bannerlord. That might just do it. The mod lets you play as King Theoden, defending the wall of Helms Deep in a semi-scripted event. Orcs would cascade up to the walls as you and the rest of the Galadriel champions would try your best to hack them down. It was pretty fun, a little laggy and janky, but hey, It's the best we had at the time.
What's going on down there? Oh god, they are getting closer and closer. It looks like we managed to destroy a ballista though. Oh, it looks like they've got on that one over there. That's going to be brutal. They are lining up ready. I don't know how much this has been coded to work like in the film, but I guess we're about to find out. Oh my word. Let's go check out our men, see if we're holding the gate just in case they try and batter it down. Okay, we do have some lads there. They are ready. Who have we got here? Riders of Rohirrim. Right, we need to get out of it. Men, hold that as strong as you can. Oh my word, they've pushed through. They've got pikes up at the top.
Chucking down rocks at the hordes below was incredibly satisfying and gave me full Peter Jackson vibes. What's even better is the fact that the mod brought in some of these Lord of the Rings custom skins to Bannerlord in general. Look, it may have been pretty limited, but I could still head into a custom game with a swarm of Rohirrim riders and charge down the Uruk-hai, or play as the Uruks myself and raiding poor innocents. Is this a war crime? To start with, we have 50 Orc brutes. These guys are pretty tough, especially when it comes to melee combat. However, they do not have shields, so as my Galadriel champions let loose with their arrows, oh my word, they start to fall. The blood effects in Bannerlord are on full display here, but the swordsmen are starting to get a little bit closer. Even the pikes are making some progress just because my Galadriel champions have been distracted for some time now. They're getting pretty close there, guys. Oh god. Yep, even the brutes start to make it to the front line. 200 berserkers are just too much. These are also just level 1. The Galadriel champions are trying their best, but they can't fight back. They're now getting surrounded by the swordsmen and the pikes from the left-hand side, and only a few are there to stand. I decide to head up onto this hill. I think it's probably the best place to put my guys. That river is going to help a lot. Not just because they're going to be fighting up a hill on the other side, but also because they're going to be making their way through the water, which, if anyone doesn't know in the Mount and Blade game, slows down your enemies a lot. But letting loose, you can see by the kill feed, it is an absolute slaughter, especially as they're slowed down going through that river there. These guys at the front just don't really stand a chance. Unless you have a shield against archers, you're not really going to get very far. Modding in Bannerlord is a little bit like the cranberry sauce on a Christmas dinner. It makes it great, but it isn't the main attraction, or at least it shouldn't be. There has to be a strong and tasty base for these mods to thrive and grow a community. And this is where the May update arrives, bringing in big changes to multiplayer. Battle mode. Historical reenactment has been an incredibly popular thing, well, since people lawfully couldn't shoot each other. Heading out into a field with your mate, and instead of defending the future of Europe from a man with piles, you just pretend that you're defending the future of Europe from a man with piles. And let's be honest, we all have been tempted at some point to don on some armor, pick up our bastard swords, and head to France on a trip to recreate Agincourt.
You are not allowed to take dangerous weapons onto the plane.
Yes, but we need to get the swords to Paris because we are reenacting the Battle of Agincourt on Wednesday morning.
These items are forbidden.
This is racism, isn't it?
Excuse me?
We beat you at Agincourt.
Approximately 9,000 of our men defeated approximately 36,000 of yours.
There are other people here. Would you like me to check you in or not?
We cannot accurately recreate the Battle of Agincourt without authentic weaponry!
But what if you can't leave the house? Maybe you're a child, a busy worker, or you have no legs. Well, Mount and Blade came up with a solution. What if we recreate these battles, but within a game itself? That could be game-changing. Some might say it could change Mount and Blade forever. Do we need a history lesson? No, not really. We all know it started with Mount and Musket, then the Napoleonic Wars, and then these battles. Oh, these gorgeous little battles. They lay the framework for an entire community of avid reenactors playing within a virtual world. Battle mod was the staple of these events. Heading into games with this game mode gave you one life and one life only. Yet during the development cycle of Bannerlord, Tailwards revealed that they wouldn't be bringing this battle game mode into the sequel, and players would have to rely on mods for that privilege. I think there was quite a bit of talkback and backlash, and during that, somewhere along the lines, Tailwards did actually decide to release a battle mode, and the race was on. Clans started forming, battles started raging, and the community was back. Well, almost. There still wasn't proper custom servers, and only a few selected community members could actually host their own events, but it was at least the start of, well, the start of something like this. Rome. Everyone loves it. Well, actually, not the Gauls, the Germans, the British, the Huns, the Goths, the Jews, the Christians, the Etruscans, North Africans, East Africans, Middle Africans, Middle East, Samaritans, Caledonians, Dacians, Numidians, Parthians, and, well, my mother who thought Gladiator was a very overrated movie but still looked pretty. Apart from that, everybody loves Rome. Thus, I bring you Eagle Rising, the mod that has been out for years, but now this year saw one of the biggest updates it's ever had. The addition of full expanded Roman loadouts with new weapons, new factions like the Scythians and Dacians, and a hell of a lot more. I've never seen Bannerlord look quite this good. It is another level that I still don't think has been replicated by any other modification. Right, we're going to get a few peeler. I don't know if we can throw it on horseback, but we're going to goddamn try. Now we're fighting against the new Scythian faction, who we'll get onto in a little bit because, oh my, is this exciting. I love the little kinks in the shield there. You can see on the right hand side there's a little gap in the shield for the lance to poke their swords through to fight with. That's so awesome. And I cannot wait to be able to use these guys on the battlefield. Come on, lad. Yes, right in the side. We can see their infantry there. We've got to take these guys out fast. Eagle Rising has and always will be, I think, a staple for the Battlelord modern community. It was one of the first and is still thriving with such a big player base, somewhat moving into maybe multiplayer Roman mods. August gave us the 1.8 patch for Bannerlord, perhaps the biggest in years. At least that's what some people would say. Adding in new battle scenes, incredibly beautiful cities, and some gorgeous new assets and armor pieces. Cutscenes came into the game to flesh out the campaign with a few more quests within the existing storyline and more advancements to this battle terrain mode that we'd been seeing earlier on. Battles themselves had brilliant new AI, with better and more realistic spawn points for units, so you'd not have that awkward moment where you were clearing out an enemy party, then 100 new opponents spawn out of thin air right in front of you. That caused for some awkward moments. Yet this update was somewhat overshadowed by a much bigger announcement in August. Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord full release. Oh god, the time has come. I've been waiting so long.
It's been 84 years.
The oncoming of Bannerlord meant for a few new things. Don't get me wrong, this wasn't going to change the world. However, now the game was coming to console, something that we always knew was going to be a possibility since of its success in Warband, but we didn't have any confirmation until now. The console version wouldn't be as fully customizable or moddable as the PC version, however it would have and be pretty synchronized up to date with the updates that we get on PC. But that will be coming on the 25th of October, along with the 1.9 update. This is when we really started to step into the battle terrain mode in a big way, where they had custom maps for pretty much every segment of the overworld. If you'd go into the battle and there was a bridge on the overworld map, you'd be fighting a bridge battle. If there was a castle in the background, it would be spawned in the correct positions, so you could completely immerse yourself within this world. This had been something that was announced years back, but it had taken a long time to fully release. Now there are still updates and still scenes being made, but it is being intricately designed and is way better than everything we had before. I remember when 1.9 came out and it really did feel like a massive content update, along with the full release. Some beautiful banners came into it where you'd add buffs to all your army. You could give these banners to members of detachments and they'd been shown on the battlefield. Not only did they give buffs like better armor, better morale, better accuracy, better projectile speed, so on and so forth, but they looked goddamn cool. And I actually think that that's all that really matters within a game like this. New town scenes were added, fully customizable cities that you could fight in the most beautiful architecturally designed environments. New arenas would also be added as well for different factions such as Britannia, just to give you that more variation throughout the world itself. And then there was the full multiplayer with full clan support, and these battles, these custom community battles started to ramp up like no else. I have only really just got my hands into it now, but it was 6 months ago that this really started to become a big staple of the title itself. It looks like multiplayer is not slowing down, but before we get onto that, we have to talk about Bannerlord's most beautiful, breathtaking mod, On the 21st of October 2022, we got a new bit of gameplay from Dell'Arte della Guerra. This was going to be the War of the Roses mod for Mount and Blade. A completely single player experience to start with, adding in complete new arms, armor, and of course all the factions that you would expect from a War of the Roses time era. It was the plate armor, the custom scenes, the beautiful architecture that really drew people in. Nobody had seen anything like this before. With the new addition of Bannerlord that 1.9 brought in, it just added to the immersion of these massive large pit battles. Salopette helmets, plumes, full plate and chain mail, gambesons to fill out the ranks with all pikes. I think that this has to be the most aesthetically pleasing mod that I have ever seen, and I think most people agreed. It got the attention straight away, with an introduction of half-swording within the game as well, something that we hadn't seen in Mount and Blade to this point. More variations of armor, weaponry, like halberds, would be added in, and of course, a later addition of gunpowder units. Very early muskets that would be a welcome addition to the modification itself. Still, very little has been seen, and the mod, even to this day, isn't on release, but the hype is really building. When the screenshots of the cities came out, people were hooked straight away. From cathedrals to town walls, from taverns to small villages. The lighting, the design, and the custom assets really feel like a true passion has been put into Dell'Arte della Guerra. Our favorite modder Block came back as well, with a new ChatGPT integration to the campaign. Now, I would actually recommend you go and check out Block's channel in the most recent days, since they've been very hard at work expanding on, well, this first bit of ChatGPT gameplay. Linking in OpenAI to the game means that you can talk to this NPCs however you want. Any NPCs, not just lords, but more importantly, random villagers. They have their own backstories, their own lives. They know what's going on in the world. You can ask them where the nearest lord is or bandit party, and if they know, they will tell you. Typing in any questions, even if the specific Mount and Blade knowledge isn't there, OpenAI will answer in a Carradic medieval way, if you know what I mean. All with their own names and backstories, they know the world they're in. This is not just a basic AI slopped into a medieval game, but an intricately designed and crafted utilization of ChatGPT to make something really special. This was just the start of a much wider base for ChatGPT and OpenAI within RPGs. It has later been implemented into games like Skyrim on a much larger scale, and in the future, I think will be a staple of what we can expect from any sort of RPG. And then we have multiplayer. Oh, multiplayer. As mentioned, battle mode and the addition of custom community servers ramped a lot of things up for the community. There are so many people that are just interested in the single player, and that's fine. But that's only telling half of the story. We started with CRPG. Coming out towards the end of 2022, we added in the age-old modification and a big favorite from Warband, having a separate custom map and database on an online website. You have a character that is made that have all their own statistics that you can mold and craft the way you want them. Maybe you want to be an archer. Well, you can upgrade your lad to be better at archery, and you can start purchasing and buying weapons and armor to fit that mold. You can of course change halfway through, respec your character, but you can go whichever way you like within a multiplayer game. Each game you win, each kill you get gets you money, and it gets you experience that can be used to advance your character that will help you later on down the line. Starting off as nothing but a peasant with a pitchfork, ending up being a fully plated armor with all the best skills in the world, it had a lot of potential. The mod is still very strong and very popular, although I think there have been some issues with balance. You know, this whole aspect of trying to be a bit more realistic in a multiplayer game, where you start off not knowing anything, but then you slowly level up. Yeah, well, that was half of the issue. A lot of players would start with nothing, and they'd go up against with other people that had everything, making it an almost impossible battle. It is slow, and it is a bit of a grind, but it's what a lot of people want in an RPG-like experience, and, well, that's what the CRPG mod was doing here. Then we have Persistent Empires, a new open world, spawning in as nothing, being able to make friends using the new voice over IP chat. Local chat let you communicate with people in your vicinity, and you could join any faction. Maybe you wanted to be an outlaw, hold people up and steal their money and items. Be a doctor, a medic, and offer your services in healing. Go and chop down wood, go mining to sell to craftsmen and blacksmiths in cities. This could be a way that you could earn your wages. adding to the player-fueled and driven economy. Then items would be crafted into weapons, arms and armor for players to then buy and purchase to ride off into battles with their clans, each clan having their own groups and of course castles for them to defend and others for them to attack. This living, breathing open world that was such a popular mod back in Warband, after being brought into Bannerlord, enhanced it tenfold, a map 5 times what we saw before, a player base double what we'd ever seen before, servers with 200-300 members all fighting it out in wars in this RPG-like roleplay experience. Unlike the CRPG mod though, this was an entirely persistent game, 1 server per region. When you logged off, everybody else carried on. The world was changing dynamically. Factions could be at war or even destroyed by the time you return, and that's what really makes Persistent Empires popular. And there are so many multiplayer mods like this. I could make a video entirely on that. Things like Full Invasion 3, having players fight in a co-op style mission with hordes and hordes of AI coming at you constantly, being able to upgrade as you get more and more kills, or moving into different time eras with something like Sword and Musket. Napoleonic Wars line battles were back, and yes, they were back in a big way. All of this has improved and advanced Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord in the last year more than I think any other time period that the game has been out. The full release was a questionable time. Would Tales continue to develop the title, or was this the end? The 1.1 update most recently came out, adding in a ton of new content, up to 13 gigabytes of stuff, revealing that Tales really are not done just yet. There is still so much more to come for this game. Next year, we might be back with an entirely different experience, and that's something I'm really looking forward to. But it goes without saying that this community has been built up with modders, with communities, with clans, with player bases, and of course the people that are passionate around making stuff for the title. But hey, maybe I'll see you in 12 months for one more year later.
So wait a minute, who am I with? Okay, I'm with my Mamluk cavalry friend, so hopefully I'm going to actually be able to achieve something here.
Listen, skip the pleasantries, huh? I want to hire you. $400, absolute.
I'm actually going to take my cavalry on the left-hand side. We're going to push up our infantry. We're going to go in, get stuck in, just killing them all. Here I am, dismembering everyone. I'm just helping them lose weight, a lot of weight.
We're going 4 ranks deep with the Vanguard. The right flank is going to be 3 ranks deep. Power right here. Look at this. Just an unstoppable shield wall.
Alright guys, walking mode on, move forwards. Shift right, shift right. I charge now, charge left, charge the left. Be nice, squeeze from the archers and the cav. But survive guys, keep fighting.
There's French, hold them. We're not gonna abandon this. Sorry, Paradoxo.
It's fine, it's fine. They pushed up those.
Yep.
Oh no!
Oh, nice.
Looters, some looters are coming. These looters are about to catch me lacking, man. Yes!
Double time!
It looks like I'm witnessing a robbery.
Look at it.
As always, thank you all for watching and see you soon.
Life goes on.